Hello and thank you for joining us here at Straight Talk Tuesday. This is Michael Winiger, CEO of Asante Organics. And you know what? Today, I want to talk a little bit more to the CEOs of this industry. And anybody that's watching can learn some things, right? And today we're shooting live from what is the conference room, but for 22 years of consulting, most companies call this the war room, right? This is where they get in and they talk about things and they discuss things and what they're going to do on a corporate level. And so let's talk a little bit about our industry. We're in a little bit of a situation, right? Because of some things that are happening with regulators and so on and so forth. And I feel bad for all the parties that are involved. I feel bad for the people and their families and the owners and their families and things like that. But one of these days, we have to start, stepping up to the plate and getting real and know that there's going to be consequences for things that we do as owners of a company. So let's talk about a few of these things. And if it takes a little bit, remember, this was a very good education. Because it's very black and white as to what we can and cannot do or say and cannot say. What's with the companies out there? First off, it's a bunch of distractions. And why the regulators get upset is because they're seeing a lot of people getting hurt because they get so hypnotized or mesmerized about all these things that when they come down to the real substance of the company and they say, what do we got? And what's there for us to, give to customers or bringing value to the end line consumer, in some cases, it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors. And that's what they're looking at, okay? So let's talk about a couple of these things, right? Let's talk about videos. I don't care what the company name is. Again, I'm not going to talk about companies. I'm not going to talk about management teams. I'm not going to talk about names of products. We'll talk about everything in general. But as a company, you can't be going out there and making videos of a bunch of people or kids or a combination of both flying in on private jets, showing their bling, doing all these hand signs, showing wads of money, jumping out of the plane into the Lamborghinis, jumping out of the planes into the limousines. Your product is being shown throughout the whole thing, and you're giving a false impression of what is going to happen. Because when people watch these things, they think, oh wow, easy money, fast money, jet setting money. Guess what? There's no such thing as fast money. If there was fast money, there'd be no poverty, right? But this is enticement. This is what the regulators look at as being enticement. Why not show a video or put up a flyer and talk about, the benefits and the value that you're bringing to the customer with this particular product, instead of all this jet-setting lifestyle. And then all of a sudden we're all supposed to feel bad and, oh goodness gracious, because somebody got in problems because they didn't know how to behave properly. This is a really good message out there for the owners of these companies. Let's go on to the second thing, these cardboard checks. It amazes me that hasn't been hit yet already. Maybe most likely will be. You're up there parading out a whole bunch of people and they're hanging on to these big checks and they're, 50,000, 100,000, whatever, how much they are. And guess what? They can't go off the stage and cash those checks. They have to get off the stage, hand back the check. The company will give you a check to take home to stick in your closet, right? And you can look at it every once in a while. And then what you can do is hope that you can, for the next 18 months or 12 months, meet the qualifications of the circus acts it is to go out there and cash a check. Again, enticement, because it looks like everybody's getting those checks. And let me tell you, they're lucky if 1% of the people can ever cash those checks. So what good is that other than bait and switch, right? If you're going to go out there, let's talk about car bonuses, right? So we've already talked about the cardboard checks. Again, hardly anybody cashes those things. When we got a check back in the 80s, right? If somebody walked up on stage and got a check, they would always do it around 11 o'clock in the morning, right before lunch. And what they would do is give out the checks, 50, 100, whatever the case might be, $100,000. And guess what? During lunchtime, you couldn't find the guy who got the check. Couldn't find him for an hour and a half. And when the event kicked back in, you knew where he was, up there by his seat smiling, because he took that $100,000 and plopped it in the bank, in his bank account. Not boundaries and you know, things you have to do to try and get these particular checks. It's crazy. And again, you know what? When you see that whole crowd up on stage dangling them around, they have to go out there and, you know, most of the time they have to go out there and do a lot of things to even try and get that particular check. And it's not going to happen because they know that 99% of them can't perform all the tricks around it to actually for 12 to 18 months. And if you miss a month, once in a while, they might give you a grace month, right? But if you miss 1 or 2 months, check's gone. Not good. Let's talk about car bonuses. 98% of all cars that get bonused in this industry get repossessed, get towed back. So now these companies have these low qualifications so they can go out there and get people into these cars. For what? To get into their bank accounts for 3 to 4 years because people don't want bad credit? There's no such thing as these free cars out there. Once in a while you might see a company. I know one guy, and maybe a couple, if I was going to count, maybe 2 guys that got handed to an actual free car. All these people talking about their free cars and their, and I'm sorry about the background noise, we got people coming in and out. So they're talking about their free cars and their, and you know, I just earned this. You didn't. You got put into a car lease. That's what you did. You know, and you're out there supporting, we're American companies. And whatever we're seeing, BMWs, the Lexuses, the Mercedes, why not give out an American-made car? Boy, that would be nice if we kept it into the country. Huh. We should think about that. I got a better idea. How about a lifetime, let's call it a lifetime bonus, right? We could come up with a lifetime leadership bonus or come up with something and really give out a bonus for accomplishing a certain goal. Instead of getting them into, you know, a car payment to try and keep them in, or they'll say, well, you know, you don't have to take the car payment. We'll give you this much product, which equals the same amount in value. And it really doesn't, because when you come down to raw cost, they're hoping you take the product instead of the car payment. But they don't mind if you get in the car payment because they got you. Look, why not give out a lifetime leadership bonus? And not even that it's a lifetime. You can come up with a title for this particular bonus, an achievement bonus, right? And, or how about this? You know, we'll give out a bonus that'll maybe pay off a student loan. That would be nice, because we do see a lot of young kids coming into this industry. Why not give a bonus where, you know, we can get them to a point of where they're debt-free and pay off this bill or pay off that bill, or give a bonus towards their mortgage payments, or things like that. Things that really count. Things that if a regulatory system looks at that, goes, wow, they are really contributing to their customer base. It's amazing that when something happens to a company, Other companies start doing calls, start sending letters. Don't be doing this anymore. Oh, hey, we're going to take away all these big packages. What were those big packages there for in the first place? Were they front loading? Because if they're taking away those big packages, they're taking them away for a reason, right? Think about it. If you're in any company and all of a sudden something happened over here, so now we're going to start trying to behave, it might be a little bit too late. You might be the next one they might have to deal with after they're done with this particular situation. Why? Because they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Obviously, if you took them away, the big packages in some of these companies, they weren't bringing value. And then, I know a company that says, we're in a world today where consumer awareness is really high, right? And so when you start talking to some of the representatives or the promoters, they start saying, oh, and you ask them, are your ingredients organic or things? They'll claim that the whole company is organic. They'll claim that everything's natural. And now the companies out here, there's a bunch of them sending out letters, doing this and that. Oh, don't claim this, don't say that, but we're still meeting the highest quality standards. If you can't say organic or natural, how are chemicals that are linked to health issues meeting the highest quality standards in the industry? No value again. When your ingredient deck is no better than the same type of ingredients that are found at the dollar store. Let's remember, the dollar store is making a profit. People get involved in this industry so they can actually more or less try to purchase products that are better for you than you can find at any of the stores. But then all of a sudden, when the companies are out there, all of a sudden pulling back on the reins and don't say this and don't do that and don't post that, wow. You could do that up to the time until somebody got caught, and now all of a sudden somebody's in a situation. So now we got to back off and don't say and don't do and don't post and take that down and make sure all these are off of the internet and so on. I don't get it. I think we need to step up as owners in this industry and do what is right. Okay? Again, if you're going to go out there and buy leaders and your whole thing is you're keeping it secret, if you bought somebody and said, you know what, this guy that came into this company, he got a particular deal because of his leadership skills, and we really want him to take the promoters and sharpen them up and do things a certain way and bring these people in for that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's like Tim Tebow going to the Philadelphia Eagles getting $660,000. Every sports player, you can find out what their contract is. And some get less, some get more for their leadership skills and their professionalism and their achievement and what they can do on the field. Why not do that in this industry? Instead of going out there, buying all these leaders, not mentioning anything, and then going out there and trying to create synthetic and fake momentum. Only for 9 months to go by, and everybody's discouraged, and they're leaving like crazy. Returns are going through the roof. That's not good. And this is what these regulators look for and look at. Look, I've consulted for 22 years in this industry to some of the biggest companies in the world. And I know what is supposed to be right and wrong. And believe you me, we all make mistakes. And we're not perfect. But we do know, every single owner knows what is supposed to be done in this industry, which is black and white. This is the law. This is how you're supposed to operate in this industry. And when you start crossing over and meeting those fine lines and then pushing over way out of bounds, I'm going to tell you what, that's when we're going to see some issues happening, and we can't blame anybody but ourselves. So hopefully you learn a little bit from that. And, you know, as owners, we can tighten up the belts, tighten up our belts, and do what is right. And do what is right, because we're affecting a lot of lives. We're affecting a lot of families. We're affecting a lot of people based on what we do from an ownership standpoint, from a corporate standpoint, a management standpoint. And what do we all want? We want to be able to take care of people and help other folks out. I'm sure everybody wants that. But going off to the extremes, that it just went crazy until something happened. And now all of a sudden, you know, the companies that are out there making announcements and don't do this and don't do that, believe you me, it's just not about what you did today or yesterday. They can go back many, many years, many years, and bring up allocations. And believe you me, if you're out there saying things not to do, and you were allowing people to do these things, and don't say this anymore and don't say that anymore, you know, I'd be, one, changing things very quickly, and secondly, accepting responsibility for our actions. So with that being said, hopefully that absorbs, assimilates, just like ingredients do, into some of these people's corporate teams. And we can do things a little bit differently now and have an industry we can all be proud of. Because when we approach somebody, we should do it with our chests out and be proud of this industry. Not have a situation like, oh, are you like that company? That's no good. So let's all buck up a little bit, become a lot more professional, a lot more from a corporate standpoint, so these people can go out there and actually create a living and a good life for themselves, and a business that they can be proud of, that will have sustainability and longevity. And you know who I'm talking to, and you know what it means. God bless you. God bless your businesses, your families. And until next Tuesday, we will be back from my office. Thank you.